What's going on, everybody? It's Cooper from the Back Pins. The inaugural PBR Team Series regular season event in Cheyenne, Wyoming is in the books, and it was fun to watch. I'm not going to lie. I was really excited about this team format. Whether or not everybody is, that's up for debate, but I was really curious to see how it would look in a regular season format. You got to see more of what I think the starting lineups will look like for the majority of the season, barring injuries and stuff like that. So that was interesting because the preseason, we saw a lot of guys they were just taking looks at. For the most part, you did see some big names in there once in a while, but predominantly they took that opportunity to take a look at their younger guys, and I don't blame them. You only have 12 roster spots, I believe, and they're important. They're crucial. You don't want to make wrong decisions. So we've got a lot to talk about, and I think how we're going to structure this most likely is we'll do a recap video at the end of a weekend. It's a little delayed right now. I was actually working the same 2 days as the Cheyenne event went on. So I just got home midweek where normally I'm getting home earlier in the week. So I think what we're going to end up doing is a recap video, review video after an event, and then also a preview video as we get closer to that weekend. It breaks it up a little bit. The videos don't get quite as long and all that. So I think that'll work best for everybody right now. That's kind of the plan as it sits right now. But before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys. Subscribing, ring the bell. It only helps our channel grow. So if you like what you're doing, don't be afraid to like the video, comment on the video, and subscribe and ring the bell to our channel. But we've got a lot to talk about. So let's grab them slides. Let's talk PBR teams in Cheyenne, Wyoming. To kick things off, let's just talk about the night number one results. In the very first game of this PBR team series season, the Missouri Thunder defeat the Texas Rattlers 89 and a quarter to 0. Their knight in shining armor, Adriano Salgado, getting the job done on American Gangster. This is a bull he's been on before. He's had success on him before, so I was not shocked to see them put Adriano on this bull. This seemed like a good matchup to me, and he delivered for him in a low scoring matchup. In game number two, this was a barn burner. This was one of the better games of the weekend, in my opinion. You're looking at 4 qualified rides on one side, 3 on the other, but the Nashville Stampede come out victorious over the Carolina Cowboys, 337 and 3/4 points to 257 and a quarter. Nashville looked really good in game one. They only had one mishap, Tiago Salgado, and I thought that was going to be a tougher matchup for him. That Cowboy Cool Bull is not an easy one to twist, but Joao Lucas rides a bull. I thought he should. Dirt Eater makes a good ride on Twisted Feather. Novice and Pacheco get the job done. The Carolina Cowboys looked really good all weekend, I thought. It's clear to me that Dalen Swearingen's going to be a machine in this format. They're going to put him on bulls that fit him and he can go 90 plus on. So I would be looking for Dalen to have a ton of 90-point rides in this regular season. But Boudreaux Campbell, he also got the job done. He also looked really good. He rode both his bulls in Cheyenne, and the Undertaker, the one he got on in this game, was not an easy one to twist. And Boudreaux's rode him before. Pretty good week for Boudreaux. Wingson de Silva, 81 and a half on Juju. Not the Bulls' best day, but still gets the job done. Both these teams looked really good, in my opinion, in Cheyenne. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And in game three, we had a surprise. I had the Oklahoma Freedom winning this matchup, and neither team rode a bull. It's a little bit shocking, in my opinion, but they did have a pretty good bullpen in Cheyenne. And Cord said it best on the broadcast. These guys looked really amped up. They're getting ahead of their bulls. And that's tough as a rider. You're definitely amped up in that scenario. You're wanting to go out there and be as many points as you can. So it is tough to slow down and just ride the bull that's underneath you. So 0-0 on the scoreboard for the Freedom and the Outlaws in game three. And in the final game from Monday night, I called the upset. The Arizona Ridge Riders defeated the Austin Gamblers with a total of 171 and a half on 2 head to the Austin Gamblers 89 points. You know, the Ridge Riders let some get away from them. I thought Alisson de Souza should have rode the bull he got on, came down late into the ride. But the Austin Gamblers had a tough go at it besides Jose Vitor Leme. And it's clear to me when you look at this team, they're going to lean on Jose. The key for them is going to be finding somebody that can step up and kind of complement him in a week-to-week scenario. They're definitely going to rely on Jose. He's going to be their heavy hitter. I don't think I have to tell you that. But I'm not panicking on Austin. They're still going to be a good team in this team series, and I expect them to be right in the thick of a title race come November. We come over to the day 2 scores, the matchups. In the very first game on Tuesday, the Carolina Cowboys defeat the Arizona Ridge Riders 177 and a quarter on 2-head to the Ridge Riders 81 and a quarter. Carolina just looked really good, and Boudreaux, Dalen get the job done for them for the victory. The Arizona Ridge Riders' only qualified ride in that round came from Alisson de Souza. And it's clear to me in Arizona, they're going to be leaning on this guy. With all the injuries they have right now, Alisson is going to have to put kind of the team on his back right now, along with Luciano de Castro. And he looked really good. I think he's ready for the task, no doubt about it. In the second game on Tuesday night, the Missouri Thunder defeat the Nashville Stampede 174 and a quarter to 87. Missouri got rides from Andrew Alvidrez and Jesse Petrie in this game, where the Stampede got a score from Tiago Salgado. So good to see Tiago getting back into the groove of things. This is a team, they're obviously going to be relying on Kaique Pacheco. He did not have his best day on Tuesday, but I'm not concerned. This guy will bounce back. He's too good and too rock solid mentally to let this bother him for too long. In the third game, the Kansas City Outlaws defeated the Texas Rattlers 173 on 2-head to 85 and 3/4. This was the Texas Rattlers' only ride of the week. They had a tough 2 days in Cheyenne, but keep in mind that the Texas Rattlers were without Joao Ricardo Vieira. That's a tough deal for them. He's going to be their go-to guy in this team format. Moving over to the Kansas City side of this game, they got rides from Marcus Mass, Dalton Castle. It's clear Dalton Castle is their go-to guy. He's going to be their Dragon Slayer, but they're going to be looking for more performances out of Marcus Mass like they got in Cheyenne. Gets the job done in this game on a pretty good little bull. And Marcus is a guy that can contribute, no doubt about it. He's not necessarily a media darling, so to speak. But the one thing I like about Marcus is this guy's got all the try and grit in the world. He's not going to back down. He's not going to quit till his head hits the ground. And you got to know that J.W. Hart loves that out of a bull rider. And in our playing for keeps game of the week, the Austin Gamblers walk-off victory against the Oklahoma Freedom. The Gamblers in this game got rides from Claudio Montana Jr., Jose Vitor Leme, and Dakota Lewis, where the Oklahoma Freedom got rides from Casey Roberts, 90 and a quarter. That's a big time effort out of a young guy. And Eli Vassbinder, 86 and a quarter on surprise package. That bull got rode twice over the weekend. Marco Gucci rode him in the Ridge Riders' first game on Monday night. I'm not panicking yet, but the Freedom did go 0-2 in their matchups in Cheyenne. And in the bonus round in Cheyenne, your winner of the bonus round, the Carolina Cowboys, they roll out Dalen Swearingen on a bull. He's ridden a whole bunch of times, been way over 90 on. I'm legit too. This is just a matchup where if they get this bull, I can almost guarantee they're putting Dalen on him every single time. The Austin Gamblers rolled out Jose Vitor Leme. He was 90 and a quarter on Montana Jacket. That's a really good matchup for Jose. The Arizona Ridge Riders rolled out Alisson de Souza, 87 and 3/4 on Yellowknife. Like I said, Alisson's going to be a guy. He's going to have to carry the load with all the injury problems Arizona has. Look for him to be their go-to guy, along with Luciano de Castro. The Kansas City Outlaws put Marcus Mast on Jag Metal's Grand Theft. That did not pan out. The Missouri Thunder put Cal Miller on Alakazam. That did not pan out. That's a tough bull to twist. And I know the Thunder are really high on this guy. If they weren't, they wouldn't have put him on this bonus round bull. The Nashville Stampede put Kaique Pacheco on Mike's Motive. This one surprised me. This is a bull Kaique's rode before, and it was not the Kaique we're accustomed to seeing. So I don't know if he's got some sort of injury we don't know about or what the deal is, but that is not the Kaique Pacheco I'm used to seeing. The Oklahoma Freedom put Eli Vassbinder on Pookie Hauler. He had a good ride started, just didn't finish him. And the Texas Rattlers put Ednei Caminhas on Nighthawk. He bucks off him at 5.5 seconds, but he was making a pretty good bull ride till his hand came out of the rope. So a pretty good bonus round. They definitely threw the bull power at these guys. And that's what I expect out of these bonus rounds for the season. is there's not going to be any days off in that group of 8 bulls. They're going to be some bucking dudes, and it's all about putting the guy you think has the best chance to ride that rank bull on that day. But let's take a break from this video for a couple seconds here, and let's talk about rank ride fantasy. If you like the team series and the draft portion of the team series, you're going to love rank ride fantasy. You get to put your general manager cap on and create your own team every week. Week in, week out, you can pick whoever you want as long as it's within the guidelines, the rules of the game. So if you want to take Jose Vitor Leme, have at her. You can have him any week. If you want to take a guy like Cooper Davis, Connor Halverson, you can take whoever you want. It's a fun way to engage yourself in the bull riding that weekend. I've played every week in 2022 for the individual season, and man, it's a blast. It makes it so much more fun when you have a guy you need to do well or a bull you need to do well, and vice versa. If a guy you don't have on your team does really well, it just makes it for more exciting. Play with your buddies, get a little group going, some side betting going on there, bragging rights. That's why people like to compete, is they like to say, well, I'm better than you. I beat you at that or on that day. It's a great time. I can promise you will not be disappointed. You can find them at www.rankridefantasy.com. And I will link their social medias in the description below and at the end of this video. But let's get back to it. With your overall event results from Cheyenne, the Missouri Thunder walk away as the event champions. In second place, the Carolina Cowboys. In third place, the Austin Gamblers. In fourth place, the Arizona Ridge Riders. In fifth place, the Nashville Stampede. In sixth place, the Kansas City Outlaws. The surprise of the weekend for me, in seventh place, the Oklahoma Freedom, and in eighth place, the Texas Rattlers. And with our rank ride fantasy rider of the week, this is not going to be a chalk guy all the time. When I see a guy that kind of comes out of left field that puts up big performance, I'm going to give him credit. I could have went with a lot of different guys. Like I mentioned, Boudreaux Campbell had a really good couple days. Dalen Swearingen did really well. But the guy that really stood out to me is the 2022 college champ. He wears the colors of the Oklahoma Freedom. Casey Roberts goes 90 and a quarter on Magic Brew versus the Austin Gamblers in the Playing for Keeps game of the week. This was an outstanding performance from this guy. I know the Freedom are really high on him. Obviously, by putting him on their protected roster, they're telling you we don't want anybody to have a chance of getting this guy. And for him to step out there and convert on a bull like that for that kind of a number, it tells me this kid's for real. He's going to have some growing pains adjusting to this level of bull, in my opinion, but I expect big things from Casey Roberts. The Oklahoma Freedom Organization's ecstatic about this guy, and I can see why. This guy looks like he is a future superstar as long as he stays healthy and keeps progressing throughout this team season. So let's talk about what we got right in Cheyenne. So what we got right, the Arizona Ridge Riders did indeed defeat the Austin Gamblers. Now, I had projected them to ride a few more bulls than they did, but in the end, it didn't matter. They get the W over the Austin Gamblers. And Arizona, to me, just looks like a team that they're scrappy. They're going to fight for everything they've got. They're not the sexiest team on paper, but I think they could be sneaky in this team series as far as upsetting some of these more popular teams on paper, depending on how they get matched up with their bulls. And our Playing for Keeps game of the week did not disappoint. The Austin Gamblers rode 3 bulls, the Oklahoma Freedom rode 2, and Jose Vitor Leme walks it off for the Gamblers. That's a position you probably are going to get used to seeing him in. They're definitely going to be relying on him to convert on almost every bull he gets on, which is true for most of the first round picks, let's be honest. But Jose is just such a special guy. There's just not a guy out there like him. So I definitely expect the Austin Gamblers to be relying on him in those pressure situations. So let's move on to what we got wrong in Cheyenne. The Oklahoma Freedom underwhelmed, in my opinion. They went 0-2 in their matchups. They didn't get a bull road on Monday, didn't get a bull road in the bonus round. So their cumulative total on the week was 2-4-11. And that's not what I expect from this team. This team's too deep, got too many promising young guys on their team to perform like this long. I'm not panicking. I still think they're going to be a serious title contender come November. You got to remember, they get Jess Lockwood in another 3 events, and they did not have access to Chase Outlaw. I'm not totally sure what the injury is with Chase, but I would assume they're looking to get him back in that lineup healthy. And when you look at the pieces they've got, these young guys they've got have showed they can ride. Casey Roberts, even Caden Bunch and Briggs Matson, even though they bucked off, they both look good. They didn't get dominated. They were making good bull rides, just didn't finish. So when I look at this squad, they're deep. They've got some heavy hitters at the top. And when you look at that, that to me looks like the recipe for a title run in this team series season. The next thing we got wrong, the Arizona Ridge Riders look better than I thought. And this is a team that is just decimated by injuries right now. Marco Iguchi got banged up. I'm not sure what his status is for Kansas City, but they lose Eduardo Aparecido on Monday night. They have already lost 2 of their draft picks, so throw Eduardo in there. That's 3 now that they've lost of the 5. This is a tough situation, but when you look at what they did on the free agent market, they went out and got veteran guys that are ready for this caliber of bull right now. They don't have to develop them or progress them. They're going to rely on guys like Keyshawn Whitehorse, Alisson de Souza, who right now looks like he might be the best free agent signing out there right now. Alisson de Souza is riding really well right now. This is a guy who's been around for a while. He's made the PBR finals. He's had success down there in Vegas. So definitely not an ideal situation for the Arizona Ridge Riders. But like I said, this looks to be like a scrappy team that they're going to scratch and claw for everything they can. My general takes from watching Cheyenne, number one is the atmosphere. There was definitely an intense atmosphere, and you could see that these teams had really bonded, and some more than others. But a lot of these teams, you could tell they were all in. They were excited. They were amped up. It was intense. And the coaching aspect of it as well. Some coaches are more intense than others, but a group that I really thought that stood out, that looked like a unit to me, just all around, was the Nashville Stampede. You saw McBride, every bull ride, he was excited. He was asking the judge, did we make it? Blah, blah, blah. McBride's all in. The Nashville Stampede as a whole unit, they're all in. They look like a serious title contender to me, but there was others that exhibited that energy as well. So it'll be interesting to see if that same atmosphere carries every week during this regular season. My second takeaway from Cheyenne is riding percentages are going to be through the roof. Even though we didn't ride as many as I thought they would, there was a lot of bull rides that went to 6-7 seconds, and that comes from matching these guys up well. They've still got to finish their bull rides, but these coaches are going to have the opportunity to match their guys up as best they think they can. Now, you did hear Ross Coleman when Alvidrez rode his bull say, well, that was a completely different bull than what my video showed. So that's going to happen, and some of these bulls don't have a big track record. There's not a lot out there on them, and that's okay too. You got to have a guy on your squad that can handle any type of bull, and pretty much all these teams do have a guy like that. But at the end of the day, if you're stronger into your hand, they're going to try to give you a bull that fits that. So riding percentages are going to be through the roof in this deal. I think it's going to be great watching this regular season and into the playoffs, simply because they're going to ride a bunch of bulls. Let's be honest, nobody likes watching a whole bunch of buck offs. So it's good for the teams, it's good for the viewer, and it's definitely good for the PBR, in my opinion. So let's transition to the new power rankings for the week. I'm going to have a running tab on these throughout the season, and I'm going to try to keep track of how many spots they moved up or down the standings. My new number one in the power rankings, the Carolina Cowboys, they moved up 1 spot, and these guys to me just look like they're for real. They've got a lot of talent. They're a close-knit group. And with a guy like Dalen Swearingen, you get one that you can be 90 on into his hand, he's going to convert on that kind of a bull quite a bit. And if you can keep Boudreaux Campbell hot, man, the sky's the limit for this group, especially when they do get Cooper Davis back. I just think these guys are definitely going to be a title contender come November. In second place, we have the Nashville Stampede. They also moved up 1 spot. Coach McBride's all in. The team's all in. You've got the Iceman you can lean on, even though he didn't have a great night on Tuesday night. Doesn't matter to me. These guys are for real. They're definitely going to be in that title hunt come November. In third, the Oklahoma Freedom, they moved down 2 spots. They didn't have a great showing, but I still think these guys can bounce back. I saw enough out of their young guys to really think that as the season rolls on and you get Outlaw, you get Lockwood back, you sprinkle in these young, talented guys like Casey Roberts, Caden Bunch, and Briggs Matson, they're going to be tough to beat down the road. No question about it. In fourth place, the Austin Gamblers. They did not move from last week. They had a better performance in the Oklahoma Freedom, but I think where their crutch is going to come is they need to find some guys that can consistently complement Jose Vitor Leme. They can't just rely on him every game. They've got to find two or three guys week in, week out that can complement him if they want to be a dominant team. And Dakota Lewis stepped up on Tuesday night. That was great to see out of Dakota. Dakota's a guy I really like. All the grit, all the try, just old school cowboy mentality about him. I was happy to see Dakota find success on Tuesday night. In fifth place, the Missouri Thunder, they also didn't move. And this might surprise you. You're going to say, well, they won the event. Yes, they did, but they squeaked by on night one. They only rode 1 out of 4 or 5. And that's just not going to get it done a whole lot in this team series, in my opinion. I think at some point throughout this season, you're going to see a group of 5 Bulls that you're going to have to ride 4 or 5 to win. And I think Missouri's capable of that, but I think the teams above them have a little more talent at the top at this point in time. Now, when Colton Fritzling gets back on track and Sellers gets back on track, and you keep getting those type of efforts out of Petri and Andrew Alvidrez and Adriano Salgado, they're going to be really tough to beat. And this is where the tier break is, guys. So I'm not bashing Missouri. I think right now it's a 5-team race between the top 5 in these power rankings. I just had to put them somewhere. I'm not disrespecting him, but I did like the intensity out of their coaches and their team in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And in 6th place, the Arizona Ridge Riders, they moved up a spot. They won a game, like I called, against the Austin Gamblers. So to me, these guys are a little bit ahead of the Kansas City Outlaws, even with all the injuries, all the guys that they're missing. They've got some seasoned veterans that they're going to rely on to place hold until their big guns get back, which we aren't sure on the status of some of those guys. But this is just going to be a scrappy team that fights for everything they can get. So I'm going to put them ahead of the bottom 2 teams right now. In 7th, the Kansas City Outlaws, they dropped down a spot. It's nothing against this team. I like what they did, but until they get Kyler Oliver back, it's just going to be tough sledding. They're going to be using Tate Pullmeyer a lot, it seems like. And at 18, it's going to take him a while to adjust to this caliber of bull, but the reality of it is the only way to get adjusted is to keep getting on that kind of a bull. So Kansas City is going to have a tough road to hoe, in my opinion. That's just how it is. I wouldn't be shocked if you start seeing some potential moves from all these teams, especially the Ridge Riders or the Outlaws, Rattlers, teams that aren't doing super well right now or have injury problems. You could see them make moves this week leading into Kansas City. And in 8th place, the Texas Rattlers. They were in 8th last week. They stay there. This is just a tough deal. They didn't have JRV, who they're obviously going to rely on. Cody Jesus didn't get anything rode. That was their, I guess, first round pick technically, but I would rank JRV ahead of him personally. They've got some young guys I really like. JC Mortenson's one of them. I think you're going to see a lot more out of him, and they're going to start sprinkling Ednei Caminhas and Neilio Almeida. Those guys are going to be in the lineup. So I think their lineup could look a little different going into Kansas City, but time will tell. But I think that'll be about it for today. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Definitely appreciate it. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the inaugural regular season event. It was a historic deal. First time it's ever happened, and it happened at the Dad. That's a pretty cool place to be, no doubt about it. Just keep in mind those PBR workers, they put in a ton of effort and work to get that deal set up and ready to buck bulls. You get about 4 hours to do it or less. So it's a rat race. It's not an easy accomplishment. Don't be afraid to like the video, comment on the video, let me know what you thought of the event or a team's decisions as far as their roster. Create some discussion in the comments below, and don't be afraid to subscribe, ring the bell. If you're watching the video, it takes 2 seconds, a couple clicks, boom, you're subscribed, and you'll also know when we put out new videos. I will link Rank Ride in our social medias in the description below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll check in with you later this coming week. Until next time, you guys have a great one. Come back and visit us again from the back pens.